Hey everyone, good morning, good day, good evening. This is Mark Reyes from allwebsd.com in collaboration with Do It With AI. And today, we'll be going headfirst into working with an AI automation platform in MindStudio through the lens of HTML, Markdown, JSON, and Handlebars. This course is designed to be easy and fun by tying it into one of my childhood favorites in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. You don't need to be an expert in any of these topics, so if you consider yourself to be a no-code to low-code professional, then you've come to the right place. Are you ready? All right then, it's morphin' time. Before we begin, sign up for the MindStudio Starter Plan so you have access to a wider selection of blocks and premium LLMs, which will make your final agent experience a lot better. Once you're set, head over into the dashboard and smash that Build New Agent button. It should take you to your first agent, which is defaulted to draft mode. Notice two blocks are already baked in with start and end. The magic sits in between the new blocks we'll add over this course. Episode 1, HTML, Thumb in the Command Console. Here's where we'll focus on HTML using the Interface Designer from a user input block. Our goal is to build a visual interface for the agent. First, add a user input block. Then, assign the variable a name, mission briefing. Save it as long text. And we'll use this later down in the workflow. Next, go to Optional Settings and switch the interface to Custom, clicking the pencil icon. After that, let the fun begin. Vibe code and prompt the interface designer. In my case, create an H1 tag to hold the title Ranger Command Console. Incorporate the mission briefing user input. Create a submit button labeled Activate Morphin Response and an output panel with an ID attribute called Response. Once you've settled into your vibe coding session, you might be curious on what the code and what the actual screen is going to look like. Go to the code block right here in the live preview panel. Automatically, MindStudio will impose React as the default framework of choice to manage your interface. Now don't worry about all of these objects here or any of the scripting that occurs. Just know that at the end of the day, all of this is going to compile into HTML tags. And I just realized something right now. I'm probably not going to need this response panel. Oh well. We're just going to keep going with it. Finally, click the Compile button, and on the landing page of this tutorial, I've left some of the more common HTML elements web developers use on a daily basis. Fun fact, there are over 100 official HTML tags in the specification, each serving a unique and semantic purpose. Episode 2, Markdown, Give Zordon a Voice. Let's pivot from HTML to Markdown with our focus on prompting using two generate text blocks. First, let's set something up for later. Add a query data source block as a placeholder, setting the variable name to answer with max results of 5. We'll circle back on the query template on the next round. Then, add two generate text blocks, labeling each block as review the answer and format the answer. Next, add a block prompt in Markdown format to review the answer, so you can interact with the LLM behind the scenes before heading into the next block. Save the output to a variable called evaluation. We'll see that variable later down the road in the next few blocks. You could prompt the LLM casually, like you do with ChatGPT, but Markdown allows you to send the instructions in a more optimal way that the LLM could better understand. Use things like headings, lists, and more. In this case, I'm asking the LLM to summarize the mission goal, choose a ranger, and justify the reasoning in selecting these specific rangers. Use novel approaches like code fencing and demarcation to separate information into concise pieces. After that, add a block prompt to format the answer, so you can interact with the LLM again for this specific task. Finally, save the output to a variable called formatted answer and provide a sample output in JSON, which you can freely shape in a way you'd understand. On the landing page of this tutorial, I've left some of the more common Markdown elements software developers, tech writers, and sysadmins usually encounter. Episode 3, JSON. Activate the data crystals. From HTML to Markdown, we've now come into the realm of JSON. Here, we'll revisit the query data source block and give it its purpose. More often than not, you will definitely be consuming data in specific formats, and this style tends to be the most abundant since it's language agnostic, meaning that different systems that have absolutely nothing in common can play a friendly game of hot potato. First, review formatted answer, which is what we aspire the final output to look like. As you can see, I shot from the hip and made this up as things progressed. I have a summary key that I want to be a string, an array of rangers with their attributes, and a justification key that I want to also be a string. Then, review the file rangers.json, which is the starting data point for the LLM to reference. I have an object called rangers, and in that object is an array of 5 different rangers and their respective attributes. Next, revisit the query data source block and upload the JSON file rangers.json, which contains information about each ranger. After that, add a prompt in Markdown format to the query data source block. In this case, answer the needs of the following mission briefing in a complete manner. And as you can see, I'm using similar techniques, code fencing, headings, and lists, to better guide the LLM instead of just writing a sentence. On the landing page of this tutorial, you'll see what the essential structures are. Read those, and you can honestly read any JSON structure thrown in your directions. Episode 4, Handlebars. Form the Megazord. Time to glue it all together. HTML stands strongly on its own, but not when a dataset is unpredictable. And it will be, since we've empowered the LLM to decide who to pick. That's where Handlebars comes in, providing us a way to keep the HTML as presentable as it can be, since data isn't guaranteed. First, add a generate asset block and assign a source type HTML template. Then, head to your favorite editor, VS Code with Copilot, Cursor, etc., or ChatGPT, and let's vibe code a template, which will capture and display the output from the previous variable formatted answer. My tool of choice behind the scenes was VS Code. I started with a broad brush, roughly 20 lines of HTML that included an H1 tag, H2 tag, P tag, and an unordered list. I then collaborated with Copilot, which is built into VS Code, using a combination of Claude Sonnet 4 and GPT-5 to land on a final HTML mock. It took about 7 prompts of refinement to land on the HTML mock I wanted, and I've showcased them in the comments section of this HTML document, and you can see the conversation on the right-hand side as well. As you can see, here's where the dynamic portions are about to take place. Since this agent I'm building is being prompted to make a decision based on the rangers.json data, and then output it in a JSON shape that I whimsically designed, I need to be able to capture that into here using iterators like each, conditional checks like if, and setting variables which would dynamically print to the screen. Next, take the output of your vibe code session and paste it into the HTML template field of the generate asset block. After that, modify output behavior to save to variable, and the output variable should be called its_morphin_time. Format should be in HTML. Finally, add a display content block, and in the message field reference the previous variable using double curly braces, its_morphin_time. On Settings, save output behavior to display to user with the display type of HTML. On the landing page of this tutorial, I've zoomed in on variables, loops, and conditions, which I feel are the most common concepts you'll see applied in software. Heads up, MindStudio uses only a subset of handlebars and not the entire library. This last stretch of the tutorial is entirely unscripted. I realized throughout the progression of this series I didn't show you how to connect the block sequentially to the next. So let's do that here, starting from the display content block to a human checkpoint block, which empowers us to either accept the final answer or go back to the beginning. Take that, connect there. We're at the human checkpoint. Are we going to say yes? Let's select a destination and let's say no to it. Select another destination and go back to the beginning. One last thing to do. Let's test it out. Let's go to Preview, open in draft mode, show the debugger to see how much this thing's going to cost, and see what variables and other data points transmit behind the scenes that a normal user wouldn't see. Okay, here we go. Alpha, Rita's escaped. Recruit a team of teenagers with attitude. And as you can see, the workflow begins. Jumping sequentially, block by block, based on the prompts that I set in, based on the dynamic templating that I set in, so on and so forth. And here's a draft of that very plan. Mighty Morphin response plan, summary of problem, Power Rangers list. Looks like I've got Jason, Billy, Trini, Kimberly, and Zach. Why them? Ooh. Looks like I'm gonna have to figure that part out. Let's try that again. And let's debug this thing in real time. Happened here? No, it happened here. Okay. Alright, well then we're just gonna add another conditional. If that doesn't exist, then we'll close it. Why not? See if that works. There you go. We'll nest it in here. So in case that doesn't exist, we'll do that. All right. Save that. And we'll try again. Open in draft mode. Goodbye. Goodbye. Let's just see what happens here. Show the debugger. Let the workflow run. The LLM is formatting the answer. Generate the asset. All right. Here are the Power Rangers we're going to need. Jason, Billy, Trini, Kimberly, Zach. Why them? Well, this time the LLM, undeterministic as it is, decided to output something. Yay. Team assembled to defend Earth against Rita Repulse's threats. Are we going to activate the Megazord? Obviously. Let's try a different one. Let's reject it, start back at the top, and let's try some more innocent villains, if you will. Babu and Squat are snooping around Angel Grove. Are we going to need the entire team? I don't know. In my opinion, we wouldn't, but let's see what the LLM says. Babu and Squat are snooping around Angel Grove. Looks like we're going to need Jason and Billy, or they suggest Jason and Billy, excuse me. Why them? Potential threat requires Ranger team readiness. Will Megazord be initiated? Nope, only 2 out of the 5 are currently being summoned. Let's try one more, just for fun. Reject that, let's start at the beginning. Goldar has been sent down to Angel Grove, and Rita has used her magic wand to make him grow into the size of a skyscraper. Let's see, review the answer, format it, generate. Here are the Power Rangers we'll need. Aha, looks like I've got to do something there as well. And the best response, Jason, Billy, Trini, Kimberly, Zach. Will Megazord be initiated? Yes, activate the Megazord. So you know what, we're just gonna do that one as well. Which one blanked out? Summary of problem, okay. So then we'll also initiate an if check off of that. Hit. Formatted answer summary does not exist. Let's simply close that. Little bonus one here for you. No picture perfect ones. Yep. Okay. Let's go back to this agent. Paste that puppy back in. Open in draft mode. One more time. You know what? No debugger. Review the answer, format the answer, generate the asset. Ooh. Okay. Syntax is off here. Oh, I have nothing in here. Haha. Format answer summary isn't there. Okay. Alright. Well, I should fix that part at least. Open in draft mode. Let's do it again. This prompt has been annoying. That's good. Goldar, sent down to Angel Grove. What are we gonna do? Who are we gonna name? Nice. Maria problem. Goldar has been sent to Angel Grove and enlarged by Rita's magic wand, requiring the Power Rangers to respond. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But why them? Power Rangers must combine their unique skills and swords to defeat the giant Goldar and protect Angel Grove. And yes, Megazord will be initiated.